What's going on, y'all? It's JD Pickell with On 3. Today on The Hard Count, we're going to talk about Brent Venables' first media day as the head coach for Oklahoma. Welcome into The Hard Count, the people's show for every single thing that you know and that you love about college football. It happens here on a nearly daily basis. It's well known by now. Nick Brake does the heavy lifting. You can help drive the show at my Twitter page, at JD Pickell. Media Day season is now very much upon us, which means it's about time for them to get the chin strap going, put on the helmet, and start playing ball. But Brent Venables had his first media day as the head coach at Oklahoma. And it's always interesting to talk about media days because ultimately it's just a lot of guys talking about their teams and programs, and there's not a ton to take away. But with Brent Venables having his first media day as a head coach, we're going to talk about some of the takeaways that we got from his short time with the media. So one of the biggest takeaways I had was Brent Venables is very much building his own program. Oklahoma, it's no secret, have had a ton of success over the past few seasons. Obviously, with Lincoln Riley leaving to USC, there was a lot of talk and probably a lot of speculation from people outside of Norman wondering, okay, is this going to be Lincoln Riley's team? Is this going to be a Bob Stoops kind of built team? What's this program going to look like? And he had a couple of sound bites, but two quotes that I thought were really interesting. One, he said, you have to nurture through the transition. He said, you have to establish your standards. Anytime you're transitioning, anytime you're getting into something new, that requires a little bit of a transition period. And it wouldn't require a transition period if you're just building what Lincoln Riley already had there. It wouldn't require a transition period if you're just going off of what Bob Stoops already had in place for years ago at Oklahoma. He's having to get in his own personnel and his own guys. And so I think for him to be able to speak to that and be transparent about that at Media Day tells me a lot about the kind of culture that they're trying to cultivate at Oklahoma. The other piece of this was he was very transparent about how they repaired this program through the portal. And he said, we want to recruit high school guys. We want to build as much from a development standpoint at the high school level. But with all the things that they lost on their roster, he said, we had to go to the portal. We had to go get guys to replace the production that was lost. Interesting thing about this, he said, yeah, we looked for experience. We looked for guys that had a lot of starts under their belt. I think they have 243 starts with these 15 transfers they brought in. But in addition to that, he said, we looked for guys with leadership experience, guys that were captains, guys that were multiple year starters or leaders on their previous team. And I think that says a lot about Brent Venables and how he's building this program from the inside out. You can go and get a talented kid and put him on your roster and have him do well for a season, but to care about the culture, to care about the leadership of these guys that he's bringing into his program, that has some staying power. Because even if that guy's only on your roster for 1 year, if he's a good leader, he's going to pass that culture down to the guy behind him, down to the freshmen and sophomores that are in this program. And so it's not just a 1 year show for Brent Venables trying to get these transfers in and get them revved up and just get some wins. He's trying to build this thing to last. And starting with the culture, building it from the inside out, tells me a lot about his philosophy as a head coach. And finally, one of the most insightful quotes for him from the day was when he was talking about what his team has from a character standpoint. He says, we have a lot of self-awareness in this locker room. We're hungry, we're excited to compete, but there's a lot of self-awareness in this locker room. And for Oklahoma, again, given all the success they've had in previous seasons until last year, they were winning they're winning the conference nearly every single year. For them to say, no, we understand we have some places we need to get better. We have a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to improve. I think that's a program that's ready to take off. Because when you think you know it all is the exact moment that you don't. And to have a program that's so malleable at this point in time and so aligned with their head coach, I think that's a great place to start and to start taking steps forward. So for Brent Venables, yes, it's going to be his program. Yes, it's going to be his guys. But he was very, very transparent. It's going to take some time. We're going to take some time to get our feet under us. Now, that can mean a lot of things. I, for one, think they're going to have a lot of success in year one under him. If you've seen our college football playoff predictions, which maybe is a spoiler in itself. But the fact that he's willing to take time to go through the process with this program to get them to where they need to be from a culture standpoint first, and then on the field to follow, I think that says a lot about where Oklahoma's headed in the coming years. That's it for us here on the Hard Count. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at JD Pakel to stay up with every single thing we're doing here. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.